some classic tunes. Over 7 million records sold, 12 UK top 40 singles, 2 number 1 albums, and 40 years in the business. That ain't too bad. Ricky Ross from Deacon Blue. Good going there. How are you? Good morning to you.
I'm very well, Kathryn. Thank you.
You have just landed in from Glasgow, came in from the airport, so you didn't have a long flight.
No, it's not far.
You're very welcome back to Dublin and into our lovely studio.
It's beautiful.
Though you are no stranger to a radio studio yourself.
I have to tell you that the BBC studios do not look like this. So this is very impressive.
We love our fancy studio, yeah. And normally we have a little screen there, which is not on at the moment. And that looks out over the Liffey out onto Dublin.
Oh.
So, in a radio studio, you tend to be kind of taken away from the world. But I love that little window out to Dublin to kind of let us know what's going on. Unfortunately, turned off at the moment. So come here, 40 years of Deacon Blue. Congratulations. And when I knew you were coming in, I put them in my ears last night and this morning. And those songs, they are incredible and bring back such nostalgia as well. But I know it's bittersweet for you as well because you've been prepping for the big tour that's coming. But you also sadly lost Jim, who's one of the originals of the band very recently.
Yeah. Jim was Jim I met in 1986 and has been with us. I always say that he changed my life really in many ways. The first day he came to rehearsal, he's such a great really great piano player, particularly great keyboard player all round, but just a beautiful piano player, beautiful voice and piano. And he had not been ill. We had done 4 shows in the spring, which were theatre shows.
Yeah.
One of which at the end of the tour was in Shepherd's Bush Empire in London, which we all agreed was one of the best nights of our life. And he particularly, he got very suddenly ill and he just never came out of consciousness in June, and we lost him in June. And it's been a harrowing time. Yeah.
And how has that been for you guys as a band, trying to get back out on the road again? Because this should have been a time of brilliant celebration, and is a time of brilliant celebration. And I'm sure Jim, if he was as much of a musician as you would think he was, he would want you back out on the road, enjoying it and blasting it out to the crowds.
He did, and we talked to him obviously when he was in the hospital. I went to see him just before he lost consciousness, and he was in good form. And actually, it was really sudden the way that he took ill. He had acute myeloid leukemia, and that's a very aggressive cancer. And, we talked about it because we said, you're not going to be able to come out on the tour, and we'll catch up because we're hopefully going abroad later on the year or next year. And I said, well, that'll be fine. So he knew that we wanted to carry on and give us his blessing, but we didn't expect it to be like this. We're very lucky that a few years ago, Jim was ill, and for a few shows, we had a deputy who was a great friend of his and a great friend of ours called Brian McAlpine, who's a beautiful pianist and just a great musician all round. So Brian's been out. We've done a couple of shows with him already, and he's got this long list of songs.
He's thrown in the deep end. Anyway.
So I saw him the other day, and he's not looking too stressed. He's coping with it all. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, listen, you are playing the 3 Arena on October 8th because the tour is kicking off September 19th. And the album, the Great Western Road Tour, so the album you released back in March, and there's a new edition of it now.
Yeah, we recorded, inevitably you always record more than you need, and we had about 3 songs that were, we'd recorded down at Rockfield last year, and then there was another couple of songs that we, Lorraine and Greg and I worked on as demos, and we kind of liked them, and we also thought, well, it's not going to be. I think by the time you get around to something new, it always happens. You always think, we take the things from the last album that maybe didn't work, but you go into a new phase of life when you come to a new record. So, and that will be, I don't know when that will be or if that will be. We never kind of make these plans. So we thought we'd put these extra tracks out as a sort of tour version of the Great Western Road.
Brilliant. So the 3 Arena, it's a big gig. That's your giant crowds, but you're playing big venues, and then you're playing smaller theatres as well. So do you adapt for the various venues that you're in?
Yes, because we decided that we would do these smaller theatres first, and we thought we would do a tour where we got a chance to play things, the album. We played a lot of the new album, and we played songs that from albums that we have wanted to play but maybe hadn't a chance to play. And we sort of flagged that up before, saying, look, don't necessarily come expecting greatest hits. But I think, to be honest with you, I think what I always feel is on any given night, you want people to come away feeling that they've had everything they wanted to hear.
Yeah.
And then they maybe scratch their head, well, actually, they didn't play that. But, you know, you can't, because you can't play everything.
But you've got such a huge back catalogue. That's the
Because
thing.
we're old.
Listen, 40 years in the business and still going, selling out the 3 Arena. It's amazing. So take us back to the beginning, maybe, because like I'm in my mid-40s now. So like the songs.
Youngster.
I'm only a little spring chicken. But I remember the videos of you and Lorraine and bouncing around and tambourines and Real Gone Kid. It was just, it's brilliant. I didn't know that you and Lorraine are married.
Gosh, are we? Oh, yeah, sorry. There you go. It's a big reveal.
But from
a long time.
From the beginning.
Yeah,
so,
for a long
So take
time.
us back to the beginning, because you were an English teacher in Glasgow.
Yeah.
And you left the permanent pensionable to be a
Yeah.
rock star.
Oddly enough, I'm working at the moment just up the road from where I used to teach. The school's no longer there, but I was going up the other day, and it was the day then all the teachers go back before the pupils go back.
Right.
And I was thinking, actually, it's 40 years ago since I did that journey. I'm working on a theatre project where they're rehearsing up the road from where my old school was.
Amazing.
And it was so weird looking back, thinking, and I texted my old boss and said, you know, just getting the sort of memories of being on just here, you know, in this place. So very happy memories. Actually, still bump into ex-pupils. Sometimes have lunch with them actually as well, which is very nice. And you know, just good relationships with old, you know, colleagues and so on. However, I basically wanted to have a job to earn some money, and really wanted to, you know, to
Get into music.
to get.
But I assume Glasgow was the same. Like, I'm just thinking of back to Dublin in 1985. I mean, times were hard, huge unemployment.
Huge.
So to leave the permanent pensionable to go into a band.
My father was a bit worried.
I can imagine.
And people used to say, well, what's your dad going to think? And I said, he'll be fine once he thinks there's some money to be made. And, you know, once we're on top of the pots, that's okay. That's the real deal, you know.
How long did it take from the formation of the band and leaving the job to being on top of the pops?
I'm trying to think now. So 85 was when I left work, and then we saw, you know, it seemed to take ages, and then the band really came together in 86. We have one of these floating anniversaries. Dougie and I got together, our drummer and I have been together since 85. I think Lorraine started working with us probably, you know, later that year in 86. Jim came in, and so 86 things came together.
Yeah.
And then by the time that the first album came out, it was 87. So we have one of these, you know, we can come back next year and say it's 40 years, and the year after.
Yeah, you could say.
It's one of these handy things. But actually, I think the first time we did Top of the Pops would have been 88. It was with Real Gone Kid, because the first album, it was great, and everyone loves it, and everyone says now, oh, you know, radio people will say to me, oh yeah, we played the songs. I think, no, you didn't. No one played them. But we had enough, you know, enough touring success, enough people loving the album just to keep us going until we actually had that magical thing, a hit single.
Amazing. And so was that when you knew that you made it then, when you have that?
Well, when I left teaching, fun enough, you always had a little kind of farewell thing, you know, and older teachers and staff said to me, well, 2 questions were, one was, are you going to make a video? Because videos were everything. MTV was everywhere these days. Are you going to make a video, and are you going to be on Top of the Pops? So I think it was sort of, you know, you ticked a box a little bit there.
Yeah.
But you knew, I think, you know, I was a little bit older when I started. I wasn't like, you know, 19 or anything. So, you know, I knew there was a road to travel, and we were always ambitious for the next thing. So I never felt we'd made it. You know, I never did feel that. I never think you should feel that.
Yeah. There's always something else to reach for. And so yourself and Lorraine got together quite early on, as you said, in the band.
Did.
Which in a way, and testament to you and the band that you're still together, and you know, did that make it easier on the road, having your partner in life
kind of
as your partner in
so
crime?
used to it that I've forgotten what it was like without. And obviously travel, I was saying to Emer, producing.
Yeah.
We have an Emer.
Oh, everybody needs an Emer. Everybody needs an Emer.
So Lorraine's first baby was Emer, and she travelled the world. We'll say to her later on, you know, you've been to all these countries which she couldn't remember when she was younger. But it made it, at that point, it made it kind of hard work. But yeah, I mean, we've just been so used to being together and thinking around things together. And we do different things now. We do different projects. You know, she does a bit of acting, writing, and I do a bit of music for other things and radio, and so when we come together to do Deacon Blue, for example, it's great because it's for everyone. I mean, Doogie would say this as well, Gregor would say it, and Jim would have said it, which is like whatever you've been doing, you kind of think, this is what I really want to be doing.
Right. Okay.
Music's always the priority.
Yeah, and you're still in studio. You're doing your own bits and pieces of music as well, and obviously with all your experience, with age, with becoming a dad, like
granddad, I think is the word.
Are you a granddad?
I am.
Are you?
My eldest daughter.
Congratulations!
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
So how has your work changed? How has your music changed in recent years?
I think that it's hard to kind of step back from it and see that. I think other people probably see these things more clearly than I do. I often think that as I get older as a songwriter, I think I like to simplify things. I've always been a great Bob Dylan fan and still am, and of classic songwriters. But I think anyone who's a writer of any kind wants to just keep hacking away at it. And by that I mean just getting rid of the surplus stuff and just getting to the core of what it's about. I've become a real, so unexpectedly, I always loved country music in a kind of funny way, but because I do a country music show, I've also become a real admirer of country songwriters and that storytelling thing.
Like that whole Americana.
Yes.
Yeah.
But even just classic country songs, the fact that they tell stories, and I suppose that's always been the kind of song I've been attracted to. I mean, Dignity, which is probably the song people associate most with us, is, if it's anything, it's a story song about, a character and an event and so on. So, and an aspiration as well. And I think that's what I always kind of have to cling on to and say, what made that good? And just holding it down.
Get you. So when people are coming to the Three Arena, what can they expect from the show? You said, are you doing lots of the new album? Are you doing the old classics as well?
What I like to say is we want to give people the best night of their life. And, whatever that takes to do that on the night, I always think it won't be like the night before, it won't be like the night after, and it'll be like a special night, because Dublin's a very special place for us. As is Sheffield, as is Nottingham, as is, as wherever you play on.
As well, your homecoming, because you're going to be doing a big one in Glasgow. Then that's happening in October. As well.
In fact, that'll be the next gig after that. But it's always every night is special. So I think you want people to kind of walk away feeling that they've had something really, really special, and it really has to do with being in that room on that night. So I think that I certainly feel that we want to give people songs that they're expecting to hear, and maybe one or two that they're not expecting to hear.
Love it. All right, Ricky Ross from Deacon Blue, lovely to chat to you this morning. And as we said, there is tickets available September 19th, because Deacon Blue are playing. They are going to play a banging night in the Three Arena. Sorry, I'll take that again. So you heard me say it, Deacon Blue, they're playing at the Three Arena on October 8th. And don't forget the Great Western Road Tour edition from Deacon Blue with 5 bonus tracks, new liner notes from Ricky, an expanded booklet released in tribute to Jim Prime is going to be released on September 19th. Ricky, lovely chatting to you.
Thank you so much.